So you can do any twitching or tweeting of it that you want and have it continue. But for someone to come out and say it's got to go, or we're going to go on
You're the only one that's saying it's got to go.
I'm not, never at all. It's going to a voucher program of this and that, which would cost the middle class and the seniors more money than they have to really dispense back. So the Social Security and the Republicans who refuse to tax anybody who makes over $1 million plus, they refuse to tax the people that are making big bucks. Warren Buffett, who I think is a hero, says his cleaning woman is taxed at 37% of her income. He's taxed.
She must be doing a pretty good income if she's paying 37%.
Cleaning well.
She does windows too.
Yes, and he only pays taxes on his billions.
All of his income comes in as capital gains.
17%. Capital gains is 15%.
That's because he, like a lot of wealthy people, have packaged all their income and all their assets into a corrupt tax system that rewards that kind of payment.
No, I'm just quoting him on what he said. What he said...
He said everybody ought to pay more taxes. God bless him. He's entitled to his opinion.
He said fairness. What I say is fairness. If you're going to make $1 billion and you're going to be taxed lower than me...
Do you know how many people in this country make more than $10 million a year?
I promise 3,000.
8,000.
All right.
If you took 100% of their income, it wouldn't pay the deficit in this country for a week.
I'm not saying you should pay the deficit. I'm saying fairness in taxes. Let them pay what I pay. Let them pay what you pay.
Exactly.
Then I'm fine.
I agree with you.
Don't let me say the GE is going away, zero taxes. Don't tell me the CEO for these new companies, corporations are getting a 27% bonus increase when the guy who was working, say, for the federal government didn't get a 2% cost of living raise. What is fair about that?
Terry, understand, the CEO is paid by his stockholders. They can do whatever they want. It's like you can do whatever you want with your money. They're entitled to do whatever they want with their money. I think that the pay scale for some of these executives is outrageous.
Well,
but it's a whole different issue.
But when you have utilities and we're the only consumers they have, and they have a monopoly and they make those kinds of fortunes, I think that's really outrageous.
Criminal.
I think that's appropriate for the government to step in there.
Yeah,
you bet.
66% of the public thinks the thing to do is to have millionaires contribute to getting rid of this debt and this deficit. 66%.
Yeah. Well, if they
good number.
But understand too, there's 50% of the people in the country don't pay any income tax. So if 50% of the 60% aren't paying anything, I understand their motive.
The bulk of those people, the poor, the people that are making 13 to 15,000, 20,000 is the top for them. And we have so many of them, they're not paying taxes. I say they're all right. Yeah. It's the ones that are making the billions. The guy who's getting $27 million bonus this year, paid to one CEO.
You're just jealous of this guy. I'm jealous of him. I'd like to make $27 million
Not to make that and have the middle class people lose their opportunities.
Are you offended when some functionally illiterate guy can throw a football or bounce a basketball and makes $20 million a year?
I think that's
you don't mind him making
no,
money,
I'd say
but
that's
you're upset with the CEO.
With the guy, a CEO who is the one that's dealing in things for people. If he's the president of one of the companies that, say, is into the computer science, and they're saying, I'm going to build this, I'm going to take over Motorola, and I'm buying a Motorola, you bet I don't think he should make $27 million a year in a bonus.
So your hostility is focused on, depending on where they get the money.
I don't care what the CEO or the football player make, but make them pay their fair share.
I agree with you. I agree.
I think everybody fair share. You know? I pay my fair share. You do. You do.
Yeah. Well,
they got to pay their fair share.
I agree with you. I agree. But I think the solution
for
this, the long-term solution, is for Congress and whatever president or future administration comes up and says, we're going to radically realign the entire tax code. Yeah. You've got to do that.
Well, the Gang of Six is pretty close to doing that, and none of them made it on the Supercommittee.
Yeah, you notice that. Did you notice the special interest contributions that are going in down to those 12 people? You know, all of them are over $1 million in contributions from special interts. I mean,
I think that's
surprise,
sad.
surprise.
Well, I don't think
let me ask you, what do you think that super committee is going to come up with?
Nothing.
What do you think they're going to come up with?
Nothing.
I agree.
And
Except
anything
the
they
pressure
come
from
up
the-
with, they won't be effective.
Yeah, I
Except for
don't
the
think they're
pressure
gonna
of the defense contractors that are going to make them come up with something because they can't afford to get sliced like that.
Well, I mean, the trigger on there says that if they don't do anything, the deficit's going to come up 50% from defense and 50% from Medicare.
Yeah,
and
defense
I
can't sustain that, so they're
Neither
gonna be,
one of them take 50% out of Medicare.
Yeah.
Imagine what the ramifications of that's going to be.
Maybe Medicaid,
Yeah.
not Medicare. But
I think the only
defense
solution-
can't stand that kind of a cut. Panetta is already online and saying, hey, we've already trimmed down for the next 10 years.
During the
Can't
course
go
of all
any
these
further.
secret meetings with the leadership of the House and all the people, there was the one report that said that the House leadership and the administration had agreed on about $800 million or $800 billion, I don't remember what it was, in terms of new revenue by closing tax loopholes. I think that is the way to go first.
Yeah.
Get
I
rid of all
agree.
those tax
Boehner was
loopholes.
there, and then his Tea Party guys made him
But
cry.
you know what's going to happen if they do this? The first one that's going to go is your mortgage interest rate. That'll disappear. Those things that are going to dramatically affect the middle class will be the ones that go first.
Directly impacts on the middle class. Directly
And you want to protect those people.
Directly impacts
Nothing can
on
happen
the
like that.
people that are trying to. The American dream is you reach out and you buy a house, and then you do that in mortgage interest and take that off the tax break. That is crazy when you're dealing with people.
But you're talking about
when
$100
you're
billion
dealing
a
with-
year.
You're dealing with the billionaires and the millionaires who aren't being taxed. Fairness. Tax them the way they tax me, and then let's start the table that way.
I agree with you. Everybody ought to pay
I
a
agree
different-
with loopholes.
But what I'm saying is,
but I don't agree with go after the middle class.
the tax exemption for mortgage deductions is over $100 billion.
It'll only hammer the middle class.
Pre-tax exemptions for hospitalization and medical insurance. That's another $100 billion. And the recipients of both of those are primarily middle class voters. And that's why neither one of those changes is going to occur.
Okay.
And that's good.
So where are you going to go with? Like I say,
Everyone else.
if you confiscated all of the money from those billionaires, you're not going to have enough to do it. So where are you going to go next?
Confiscate all
Where's
the
the
money.
next person you're going to
I
go
just
Work our way down
want
to the millionaires.
fairness.
Work your way down to you?
No, to the millionaires.
Yeah, I'm just saying fairness. I'm not saying let's take all the money from the billionaires and put them out on the street. I'm saying tax them at a fair rate.
And you determine
cut their
fair.
loopholes. You're right. They sit
what's
there
fair?
on the incomes of billions or millions, and each tax year they get a kick of close to $250,000 just because they're sitting there on the loopholes. $250,000 if you make all this money.
Plus tax breaks for their corporate jets.
You bet.
Oh, yeah, we got to watch it.
And their corporate yachts.
Yeah.
Well, I saw the one numbers is if you took the tax deduction for corporate jets and you collected that for 5,000 years, you wouldn't make up the deficit for a quarter.
I'm not
We're talking about fairness.
making up
Everybody
the
has to
deficit.
contribute.
I'm
Let's-
willing to
there's
give
no
up my
silver
corporate
bullet.
jet.
Let's
I'm willing to
balance-
give up my corporate
Let's
jet.
balance. Just make it fairness. I don't care if they have a corporate jet. Just tax them at the same rate we're taxed.
The same effective rate.
You
Right.
got it. And it's a percentage somewhere
And it'll,
that they won't
and
like.
it'll be done. And the
Sure.
deal will be done.
And then I'll be happy.
You'll be happy.
Sure. I always say, how does the
Sold
Republicans...
66% of the public. They'll be
Sure.
happy.
How does the Republicans get away with selling Ryan Cantor, these rookies that don't know what they're doing? And the one thing they would not do is they would not raise taxes on the very rich when they know full well that the people in the middle class are the ones that need a certain boost and support during the economic doldrums we're sitting in. How would they say that? They say no. And how are the Republicans making it now? They're making it now by saying no. Anything that looks positive, they say no to it. Anything.
I'm glad that we have this collective balance on this issue.
Anything.
Like I say, you got to learn to come out of your shell, Terry. I really got to find out what you really feel about these issues.
When people have nothing to add except no, they shouldn't be in the game. And
All right,
when
so
people
now we're going to say that we're going to now say who can be in the United States Congress? Only people that agree with you?
I would think that
I
would
like
be
to.
smart.
Karl Rove wants to say who should be in the U.S. Congress with his super PAC.
And he even goes out and pushes for it.
Exactly.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
I do have an opinion, but I would say that people would be a hell of a lot smarter if they voted how the issues hit them. People in the middle class. And
Oh, so people shouldn't vote on the way it affects the nation.
People
how it
should
affects
vote
them
on the
first.
way it
Put
affects
yourself
themselves.
ahead of the country.
No, with how it affects themselves and how it then would affect the nation. The people I'm talking about are the middle class, and those people need support.
I want
from
mine,
the Fed.
and then we'll fight about everything else.
No,
they
part
say
of your own
vote
interest is the national interest.
Yeah, vote the right way, and it is the national interest, of course. You're right on the money.
Good
If
for
you vote the way you should vote, for not only for yourself, but for the country, it's a payoff. And they were going to push us into default.
Let me
They
ask you
already
this.
dropped us
Let me
to a
just ask
double
you this.
plus rating, caused almost a havoc in the Western European countries, and all because of someone like Michelle Bachmann said, I would never raise the debt ceiling under any circumstance.
But her vote didn't carry the day, did it?
No, thank God.
Okay.
Shows
so-
how effective she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's not too bright, but she had 30,000. I don't know. I'm
Let me
sorry.
just ask you.
Perry
Let me
had
just ask you one-
30,000
let me just ask you one question.
at the
Is
evangelical.
there any part of the federal government in any stretch of your imagination that should be reviewed in terms of looking at
I
it
have no
to get rid of
problem
it?
with a review. Not to look at it in terms of get rid of it. I would look at it in terms of effectiveness. How effective is this department? That's fine. If you ever worked inside the government, inside they all have IGs, and they all come in for under inspections, and they do that.
But how do you explain then that, like, say there are something like 80 agencies in the United States government dealing with homeless issues? Why shouldn't that be a function of one or two agencies?
It shouldn't be a function of the federal government. It ought to be a function of the state.
Could the difference in that money, funding the 100 agencies to do it too, could that money be redirected into something more positive?
Of course not. Fred, you're making up things that are hypothetical at best.
You've been watching too much of Murdoch's Fox News, Fred.
He's been reading the British papers, is what he's been doing. The soap
Hacking into
operas.
those phones. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
No, I've been
They're listening
hacking into the San Francisco.
Hello. No, it's a tragedy, and loopholes should be closed.
I agree with you. I think we all agree that.
And I think
we all
that
agree.
we
but
should
understand,
And you do all that, and it's like 0.5%.
Understand,
I'm not talking about
your loophole and your
doing away with
loophole
it.
and my loophole may be three different things. Your loophole may be, it's a loophole if oil companies have a depreciation. Your loophole may be that the corporations ought not to be able to write off their equipment purchase. What if somebody said that mortgage rate deduction is a loophole?
Too
And
bad
it'll be-
we're the middle class.
Yes.
Okay,
And there are
so we're
more
entitled.
of us
We have more
than
votes.
everybody else.
Right.
We got
And
more
I'm
votes.
glad you mentioned the
Corporations
oil,
are not
the
people.
oil problem.
Oh, yeah, the people you
Absolutely.
hate.
Go
People
after-
you hate.
Of course.
course you
Because
hate 'em.
they are,
Million people in this country working in the oil industry.
They
And they don't get the
are,
proceeds from
no, and they are, as a group, really killing the middle class in this country.
Oh, okay. It's their
And
fault.
they're making the middle class certainly spend, I'd say, 50% more just to drive their cars.
Well, let
in
me
a
ask you
month.
this then: if the oil companies get a profit of 6 to 10 cents per gallon, and the federal government gets 14 to 20 cents in tax on that same gallon, who's taking more money?
I think the federal government is not. What I know is that
They get 14 cents.
coming
14
out of
cents
the
every
Goes to
ground,
build our roads.
Yeah,
60%
exactly.
goes into the pockets of executives.
coming
Oh, so-
out
so-
of the ground.
so you
in
guys are just
Saudi,
anti-business,
Coming to the
anti-capitalism.
ground
Yes.
in Saudi. You're
Yes,
talking.
goddamn.
I do.
You're right. All right. I'm afraid I can't go to Saudi Arabia. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
That was the fastest half hour we've ever done.
We'll see you again soon.
You
and
got to get more
maybe-
animated.
Maybe we'll be able to talk about the Saudis and how much it costs to get a barrel of